And now Burger King, you see Burger King's doing a Nelly meal.
Right on time.
They're doing fucking Burger King. Jesus.
brunch.
Hit it, boys. It's a fall edition of the Brunch Podcast.
That's right. Spooky season, baby.
Oh my God, have you been listening?
To Circling Back.
Circling back spooky season?
I have not listened, but I've seen the clips, and the clips make me want to listen because what the hell is going on over there?
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
And I'm not trying to count anybody's money. This is just a yes or no question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a backer?
I don't believe so. Don't dox me like that. Man.
Yeah, I'm
Come
sorry.
on.
I did not.
I don't believe so, and it makes me feel bad because I know that the Circling Back backs
Yes.
brunch.
And I was having
I should rectify that.
I was having a
really
text
should.
message conversation with one Dylan Chevery. You can hear him on the Circling Back podcast from time to time. And he was saying, he was like, oh man, we were having like this great Vineyard Nights conversation on the episode the other day. And I was like, I didn't hear that one. And then I realized it was...
Because you don't listen?
That was behind the paywall. No,
Oh.
I do. I'll tell you
I
what,
know
dude,
you do listen.
I'm a pretty I'm as close to a regular listener of Circling Back as I am
To
of
any other
anything.
podcast, yeah.
I listen to famously, people know this is what I do. I listen to Time Crisis, which is an internet radio show on Apple Music, and I do not listen to other podcasts. I'll check out other podcasts a la carte because so many people have good podcasts, but I'm never like waiting for the next episode of whatever. The only podcast that if I'm in the mood to listen to a podcast and I go right to, I'm like, have I heard the most recent Circling Back? And I laugh so hard at that
It's
podcast.
great. I mean, it's very funny because like when we joined Washed, you didn't know about Circling Back.
Didn't know a thing.
And like I know you famously don't listen to podcasts.
Off to a terrible start.
Right. And so the
That's
fact
all
that
they
you've come
do is
around,
podcast.
yeah, the fact that you've come around and been won over pretty easily by the boys.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think there was a risk of me like needing to come around on them. But
Nope.
it was just
Right.
I was more likely to be like a dash, like not for anything, but just more like not participating.
Yes.
But I mean, they won us over right away with how cool they were via text message. That was that got them off to a good start.
Good vibes.
Then
always.
they just like called me one day in the middle of their podcast. It just gave me that live guest spot that I didn't know I was having. It was really disorienting. Probably dissuaded people from checking out our podcast. You might have given a better sales pitch than I did. But those guys, they're good people. Dave is, I mean, they are all extremely funny. I think that Dave is like one of the funniest people in the world.
Dave is hilarious.
Dave is one of the funniest people in the world. And Tomato Fights is off to a rousing start.
It is.
And it's brought back a point that I generally make to people, but I hadn't made in a while because, I don't know, humans don't see each other as much anymore.
Jeez, Penny.
But Penny lady. But do people ever ask you, like, hey, who's the biggest asshole in the biz, or who's the nicest, or who's the coolest? Like, people just ever ask about like general people you work with?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think I've ever really been asked like who's the biggest asshole. It's like I think it's more like specifically, hey,
What's
is this person
like?
nice?
Yeah. What's this person like? So when there's a short list of people I'll give of like, hey, like who's like the nicest person in the business? Because legitimately, you'd be surprised by how few people there are that I would actually consider assholes. But my answer for who's the funniest person is always Katie Nolan. And I think that was once again confirmed on Tomato Fights. She did that. I had a great time doing that. She was fucking hilarious. Her thing about the divorced wives group in Jerry Maguire, just an all-time classic movie breakdown moment. I could not be happier.
Yeah,
with,
I was surprised.
with the
I
start.
listened back and I like during the moment I was like, oh man, this feels all over the place. But when I listened back and like the feedback was all great and I was very, very appreciative of that. If you want to hear the next one, please go to Patreon.com// listen to brunch. I felt like it was disorienting in the moment, but when I listened back, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And Katie like made a shitload of good points. She was so good. And I was very, very happy. That was the most excited I've been doing a podcast in like the way that a podcast had come out in a long time.
I mean, it was such a good idea that
That's right. $1 million idea, some would say.
That's going to be the first question for every guest we have. First of all, what do you think of the idea to do this podcast?
Put a monetary value on this podcast.
Yeah, if you were to throw, I mean, Katie, we have to ask. I'm gonna loop back with Katie and be like, all right, you don't think it's $1 million idea? You think that throwing around the term $1 million idea is dangerous? But is it like, can I get like a $300,000 idea?
Here's the thing though.
Also, by the way, people have been reaching out to me and been like, "Hey, like all jokes aside, that's a fucking great idea.
Hell
and,
yeah.
Like that should that podcast should make a lot of money."
Well, here's the thing. We are putting a lot of effort into curating future guests for tomato fights, and
so if you haven't been asked yet,
tough look.
Yeah.
No, every single person that we've asked has said yes, and we've like gone for some pretty big ones. And a lot of the times people will be like, yeah, maybe like circle back in like a month or so or whatever, and they'll give you like a soft yes. We've gotten like, hell yeah, this is an awesome idea. Would love to do it. I'm very excited about the future guests that are coming, and I am very excited about the future of Tomato Fights.
I've got a white whale guest though.
Ooh.
Someone who usually gets back to me, and I've got a healthy DM relationship.
A healthy rapport.
Healthy rapport. People might forget that I have this healthy rapport with this also extremely funny person, and threw it out there. Was like, hey, I'm sure you saw doing this podcast, $1 million idea. What do you think? Straight up, have not heard back.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Well, I'm batting 1,000. You're
Good.
batting 0.
Hey, dude. By all means, if you are.
I'm usually not the guest guy. Like, I'm not the guest connection. Sometimes, but not frequently.
I am extremely grateful to have you as a guest connection. Yeah, you've got. I think you're responsible for the next couple or few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes through. But I've gotten hard yeses, so I'm very excited about the immediate future of Tomato Fights.
Yeah.
Hope you are too.
Patreon, listen to brunch, and we put out the last one for free. We put that out there for everyone. We'll figure out how we can make this a thing that gets as many eyes and ears on it as possible without like totally putting it behind paywalls and stuff. But we're figuring that out. In the meantime, like, this is what I ask. If you like it, just support it. Like,
please.
And not like don't listen to it unless you pay for it or whatever. But like, if you can and you like it and you dig it, like, that's been my relationship with like internet content. Really, for far shorter than I care to admit, just because I didn't really know how a lot of this stuff worked. But like, if you like something and you dig it and you can, by all means, it goes a long way if you can support it. I mean, that $1 million doesn't. It can't be $1 million idea without $1 million.
That's right.
And our goal is really ultimately for it to make $1 million.
Right. So we need 200,000 people to sign up, please.
Yes, and for Patreon to waive its fees.
That's true.
Can Patreon toss us like a Bandcamp Friday type situation? That would be really great. Friday's episode of Tomato Fights will be topical. We won't say who the guest is yet, but it will be The Fugitive versus The Social Network.
The Social Network. If you weren't on the internet this week,
there was a fugitive.
There was a few. Well, well, I guess not. We call him Brian Laundrie a fugitive.
Who?
Brian Laundrie.
Brian Laundrie.
The boyfriend on the lam of that missing. That is so that's not the topical thing. The topical thing is The Social Network.
No.
The Social Network, because Mark Zuckerberg and his big old company Facebook, you may have heard of it, completely went down this week.
Yeah. And it's funny. maybe that Sean Parker was full of shit. He promised that if he dropped the, it would be cleaner, but it was a big old mess the other day. Maybe should have kept the, or maybe just should have. I don't know. I can't. Facebook is like, it's not even. Like,
it doesn't exist to me anymore.
Yeah,
like,
it's not even like Jeopardy, where I'm like, stop talking about Jeopardy. It's more like that's still happening. We don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, it doesn't exist within my periphery. Like, obviously, Instagram is more prevalent for, I guess, for a lot of us than Facebook is these days. But like, when Facebook went down, didn't bother me at all. Would have never noticed. But then because of the connection, like, Instagram went down, WhatsApp went down, Oculus went down.
Do you use WhatsApp?
I don't, but I use Oculus. Recent Oculus guy.
Oh, that's right.
The
Oculus.
VR.
Yes.
So, yeah, I there was like some talk that Facebook and Instagram might be gone forever because like somebody deleted something that couldn't be restored. I didn't really believe that ever to be the case, but for like a second there, I was like, that would kind of rock.
Wouldn't miss that at all. I thought about like what is on Instagram that I would miss, and honestly, this is like a kind of weird thing that I did. I did it like kind of accidentally. I scrolled through for 5-10 minutes. It was weird, and this is like something that I typically would not like to do, but I was just scrolling through like DMs and replies with like my best friends.
Yeah.
And just like seeing something like, oh, they posted, I responded this to it.
Like, what would I miss if this was gone?
Yeah.
Is that what that was the?
Not really. I don't know how I wound up in this, but it was like it just reminded me like, yo, like A, DJ, you're pretty funny, and B, like your friends are pretty funny because like, and like the Instagram experience is goofier and a little more fun. That like I think of Instagram as being like this horrible thing that just wastes my time, where everybody goes on and kind of lies about what they are, and it's not their fault because that's just what it is, and that's what we've all kind of been like curated to do. But scrolling through, like I was just going through like a few different friends, and I was like, no, like I've had some fun on here. This is like
yeah,
a
I've
fun,
definitely
goofy
had
place.
some fun on there, but I do wonder, like, do you I think that society would be better off if Instagram did not exist, like in terms of like behavior and just like the way we approach things. And I also feel that way in a lot of ways with Twitter, but I feel like at least for us, Twitter serves a more practical purpose than Instagram does.
We can say that we're doing something on Twitter, and especially like you. I said this to you yesterday, and then I felt like it might have like read as slightly insulting. You were like, dude, don't need Facebook, don't need Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, true. And then we were talking about Twitter, and I was like, that's like kind of your bread and butter. So if you didn't have that, it's like taking away a major strength of yours. But I still think that if the world didn't have Twitter, I think that like you and a lot of people who are like great at Twitter would still probably be like better served health-wise, just because like they're not seeing Twitter.
Yeah,
I mean, like those of us who stink at Twitter, we're just fucked altogether because like we're not getting anything out of it, and it's also Twitter, so it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I just think that like Twitter is. I feel like Twitter is always going to exist in some form. Like it may not be Twitter, but like what Twitter serves a purpose for is always going to exist from this point on. Instagram, like maybe it's just because I don't see a ton of value personally in Instagram. Like if that went away and never came back, I don't think that it would be like some big loss.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Although I won't lie, like socially, Instagram is like, I feel like I've like strengthened, this sounds weird, like, but I've like strengthened friendships via Instagram, which is weird. And I know that like a lot of like relationships start via Instagram. I would guess, I don't know, I could be way off on this. I'd guess that more relationships start via Instagram than any other social media thing, unless you consider like
yeah,
dating
like a dating
apps.
app. Yeah,
Right?
You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, because it's like picture based and like
The classic, like the new Boy Meets Girl is, and again, like tell me like old man, you're way off, but like the new Boy Meets Girl is like
reply to an Instagram
somebody
story.
posts an Instagram story, somebody replies, and then you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like the new. Did we talk about the? Did you see that fight over there? I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast.
I don't know.
The tip for like, hey, like I'm nervous. How do I talk to a girl? And it was like you point out,
Oh,
just like point out anything
yes,
that's going
yeah,
on, and then
yeah.
like next thing you know, you're having a conversation.
You're right.
For example, did you see that fight over there?
Yeah, like how often
then
are
you're
you just in the proximity of a fist fight, and then you're like, ooh, dating opportunity.
Well, I don't know. They could be in the Squid.
Yeah, but I also
Game world.
true. I also wonder like if Instagram went away. Say the rumors were true, the Facebook code was completely deleted, Instagram's gone, or Instagram's gone, Facebook is gone. Don't you think that like a lot of people would just migrate to Twitter and they would post their photos on Twitter?
Yeah.
And like in that way, like Twitter would essentially assume Instagram.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that Instagram has the ability of assuming Twitter.
True, but I've kind of moved some of my Twitter behavior to Instagram. That's what they say.
It's more acceptable
They say
there.
if it's not working on one on one social media platform, definitely keep doing it.
It's not you, it's
yes,
them.
Totally. It is not that you should stop doing that because nobody cares about it. But like if I have like a goofy little like music joke or something, if I post it on Twitter, not much.
Yeah.
I'll get my guy Papa Teej giving me that support, like that retweet, that hey, I get it, love you, bud. If I post it on Instagram, it's like getting replies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like some Twitter stuff works on Instagram, but I agree. Like it's way easier for Twitter to just absorb Instagram than vice versa. But man, like there's been times in my life where like
I think that was the word that I was looking for when I said
absorb?
assume.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Instagram is like very, very unhealthy. Like I don't think I've taken
Well, there was like a study that came out or like an investigation or something that came out from like the federal government into Instagram, and Instagram admitted that they were like, "Oh yeah, like our app is actively crushing the like the self-confidence and the mental health of a lot of young people."
Oh.
And they just like they didn't do anything about it. And I mean like I guess like at what are they supposed to do other than making like minimal changes, I guess, to curving behavior and stuff?
Well,
I just think that's like where we are at this point, where it's not really Instagram's fault. It's just the entire internet.
Oh yeah,
and the internet
like,
culture.
This is happening, and this is moving with or without them.
Right.
It's like the end of Silicon Valley when they're like, we have an app that's going to ruin the world. And
We have to delete it.
We have to delete it, and they're like, I mean, someone else is going to come up with it, though, in like probably a year. So even if you get rid of that stuff, the Wall Street Journal, August 23rd, rising rates of depression and anxiety in wealthy countries like the U.S. may be a result of our brains getting hooked on dopamine from digital pleasures like texting, tweeting, and online shopping, writes psychiatrist and professor Anna Lemke, which I saw that, and I was like,
No
yo,
shit.
like, yo, doc, like, cool take.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that, like, we don't fucking know this?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is obviously old news. I just wanted to bring up that Instagram knows that it's true.
Yeah.
Instagram itself has publicly admitted, hey, we are kind of unhealthy and toxic.
Yeah, I don't think, I can go a couple days without going on Twitter and it doesn't feel, like, crazy. It definitely feels different, but I sometimes will, like, have to take Instagram off my phone as like an active, hey, your brain needs to get a little better, and this is an easy culprit for why it's probably not doing so good. Like I think that Instagram is a lot more evil than Twitter. I think that people go on Twitter to be evil, but I think the
Yes.
the experience of Instagram is way more evil.
I think it's a more subtle evil. Like it's a more pervasive. Like you're not realizing how much this sucks.
Oh yeah.
And how much this kind of is affecting you. And I think that when you go into one of those outages, it makes you realize it, because I can't tell you how many times I opened my Instagram app and just kept seeing like the same top picture when it was down, and I've been like, why the fuck do I I know that it's down, but my brain sort of resets itself every 45 seconds or whatever. And like by habit, I open the Instagram app, and then as soon as I see the same thing, I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't going anywhere. But my brain is just like so hooked on the action of checking that.
I want to give a shout out to my pal Emily Kaplan, because new season, new perch, new role. She's going to be doing the on ice stuff for ESPN this year.
Yeah.
And that was the post that every time I opened up
Oh, hell
Instagram
yeah.
was there. And so exactly. I have like I kept seeing this same thing. I probably saw that caption like
Yeah,
60
congrats to
times,
all the
and, like,
people
huge
who got stuck at the top of the feed. Congrats on your like
But that's a good
hours
one.
long exposure.
Yeah, but
for
that's
sure.
a good one, because that's like
That's something
that's
that'll
like,
stick with you. It's not like happy birthday,
that's
friend.
like a great news thing, and I can't remember now if I like even commented congrats or anything, because I don't think it was working.
Wouldn't take.
Yeah, it wouldn't go through.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go through. Do we talked about, I can't remember if we do anything on or off the podcast anymore, but we were talking recently about like how you used to just be able to straight up lie about online. You used
What
to
do
just
you
be
mean?
able to say, oh, like, hey, I messaged you about this. Did
Oh,
you get
yes,
it? And you'd
yeah.
just be able to be like, oh, no, didn't get
Didn't
it.
go through.
Didn't go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Now it like literally tells you, it's like, hey, this was delivered. This was read.
yes,
So-
man, it's weird, but it was a good day to be off of Instagram.
I texted you. And
I was
gonna
say
this
we
is
just
nice.
texted more
Yeah, yeah.
instead.
I was like, this is nice, honestly. This is cool. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about today in terms of pop culture stuff. There's been dry weeks. And there's been weeks where we got something to talk about. I feel like lately we've had a lot of things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
This week we have a huge influx of things to talk about. Because one, I watched Squid Game. I've been very, very vocal about Squid Game. Everybody's watching Squid
You're
Game.
famous for this.
Yes,
People-
I've discovered Squid Game.
People know you for Squid Game.
Against all odds, you watched Squid Game. I didn't think that you would ever watch it,
Why?
because it does have like certain like Black Mirror sort of like
social science fiction
end
stuff.
of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like very, I don't know. I like emotionally draining, and I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if you're always down for that.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
so,
bad.
yeah. So I'm happy that you did watch it. I am surprised. We also watched The Guilty, which is the new Jake Gyllenhaal movie on
Guilty.
Netflix. Guilty.
Guilty. Barry.
And
You
then
ever see that skit? SNL.
no.
Kristen Wiig plays Guilty. She's a kid with a huge head of hair, and she's like, I think she like kills people in class.
Ooh.
You know, so it's Gilly.
Okay.
Gilly. And Will Forte is the teacher, and like Keenan will be like, hey, she just set me on fire, and clearly this was Gilly, and the teacher will get Gilly, and the whole time she's like, what? Barry. Check it out.
Good stuff.
I'm famous for pushing Gilly.
You do push. You push Netflix or SNL skits probably more than you realize.
You know what? My peacock feathers might be a little bigger and brighter than I thought.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we also watched The Many Saints of Newark.
Ooh.
Hell yeah, the Sopranos prequel. Varying.
I call it the Sopranos NyQuil.
Oh,
that was really
got
good.
his ass.
That was really
That was
good.
fucking
Hey,
good.
tomato fights, because I did. This has to be a promo. We had to clip this because it was such a good joke. Tomato fights Fridays. It's patreon.com. Listen to brunch. We'll see you next week.
That was one, a really good joke. Two, awesome to hear, because I've seen. I guess we'll start with Many Saints
Mixed
of Newark.
bag.
Yeah, I've seen
Real
very
mixed bag.
very opposite ends of the spectrum, which
Mixed bag.
is not to be unexpected with like a nostalgic revisiting of something that's been away for a while. People have their expectations. Sopranos, very beloved thing.
famous
obviously
for that.
obviously not going to be a shock if some people are disappointed because it's not The Sopranos. But
Yeah.
it's also not going to be a shock if like big Sopranos fans are just happy to have Sopranos back in their lives in any shape or form.
Remember when El Camino came
Mhm.
out, and our frustration with a lot of the reaction was, it's more Breaking Bad. Do you not want more Breaking Bad? Because
Right.
if you don't want more Breaking Bad, you don't have to take it. You
Mhm.
can just quit being a hater and sit this out while we enjoy the more Breaking Bad. I learned from this that, like, oh no, you can not want any more of something if it's going to be a certain level of quality.
Yeah, but I think when you get into that discussion too, there's an element of like a lot of people like say like, oh, this ruined the show for me or whatever. It's like, no, you can just pretend that this thing doesn't exist, compartmentalize it, scrub it from your memory, push it off, don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So for the Many Saints of Newark, I did not like it.
I didn't like it.
I did not like it. And like it doesn't make me feel any differently about The Sopranos
It
at
makes me
all.
feel horrible about The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I think they all stink.
Now I think they're all bad guys.
Yeah, right. Now I think they're all a bunch of murderers.
No, I think that this was just more of a disappointing mess, and I went in with some pretty high
Mess
expectations.
Is a good word, because I couldn't tell throughout, like, what is this movie about? Like, it's pushed as a Tony Soprano origin story. We'll get to the little bait and switch they pulled on us in a second.
It is certainly not a Tony Soprano origin
Then it's
story.
about like this gang rivalry, which that's always cool. Like, I'll do that. That's always
Right.
like a cool plot for a movie. And it's a lot of Dickie Moltisanti, and then it's like they also are very cognizant of the fact that for some reason they need to push the Tony wants to fuck his mom angle.
Mhm.
So they put a lot of that in there too, and ultimately you just don't get
They don't
really
do any
get
of the
much
things
of
well.
anything.
I think
No.
when you're trying to do that many things in like a 2-hour movie, I
Yeah.
think it's not much longer than 2 hours.
No.
And if you're trying to do that many things,
2-7, I
you're
think.
spreading yourself very thin. And I don't think that it accomplished many of the things that it. I don't even know if I can say that it didn't accomplish the things that it wanted to accomplish, because I don't know what it wanted to accomplish.
I mean, it hammered home Tony wanting to smarsh with Liv, but that's the only like concrete thing you can take away from it. Other than
not true.
What?
Because I gave 5 takeaways, and I'm going to go through my 5 takeaways.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Pete's 5 takeaways.
Pete's Corner.
Pete's Corner.
That's a horrible name for a segment, but my Many Saints of Newark takeaways. I tweeted these out. I
Here are
said
Pete's 5 takes from
I hate
the
that.
Pete Room.
I didn't mean to make it like this. So
Here's
no.
Pete's tweets on Twitter.com.
Number 1, why the fuck was Ray Liotta in this movie at all? He played 2 different characters, and neither one of them served any real purpose to the story.
There was at least a person that was like, it's pretty clear that like you're just killing all these people. And he was like, oh, thank you. Somebody notices.
That's one of them. I also think that Ray Liotta had one of the better scenes, was involved in one of the better scenes of the movie. It's the wanting.
Yeah.
But anybody could have had like that, been on that side of the coin. So
Yeah.
I don't think that Ray Liotta's
Yeah.
served much purpose.
People forget he was
And
good
also-
in Marriage Story.
And also, he was really bad at the beginning. All due respect to Ray Liotta, great actor, very accomplished career. The things that I've seen him in 2021 have been brutal.
He's been in other things?
Yes, he was in.
He was famously good in Marriage Story.
He was good in Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were being facetious there.
No.
Yeah, he was.
Famously,
he was quite
he
good.
Delivered a great scene.
He was in No Sudden Move, which came out earlier this year on HBO Max, I believe,
Interesting.
or from Netflix, one of those, and he was not good in that either. His acting.
So this all fit in one tweet, huh?
Yes. They give more characters.
Yeah, when you
For me.
reach a
Yes.
certain
Yes.
threshold.
Number 2, I'm still not really sure what quote unquote the plot was.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I don't
clearly
know.
clear that you feel the same way. Okay, here's a positive. Number 3, young Paulie was awesome. Young Paulie was great. But on the other side of that coin,
I know where this is going.
young Silvio, horrendous.
So I didn't know there was a young Silvio in this.
Real? Oh well, like did it take you a while, or did you never get there?
Who's young? Which one's young Silvio?
The guy with the hair?
Oh, you mean older than he was in The Sopranos, Silvio. That guy. Yeah, my number one question is, why is Silvio older in this than he was in The Sopranos? What the fuck is with that? Especially
He was an old guy.
in The Sopranos, they acknowledge that Tony and Sil grew up together. What are you doing?
Right, what are you talking about?
What are you doing? He's like my old Armenian grandfather, Silvio was in this.
Right, I guess in the same way that like Tony grew up with Junior, because they were alive at the same time.
Yes.
They grew up together. But Silvio was horrible, and I
So
think
rough.
it goes.
I feel bad for the guy that played him.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a very tough thing to do, and credit in the world to all the credit in the world to Billy Magnuson, who played young Paulie.
Yes.
He was like almost unrecognizable, not only in looks but also like the portrayal, and his portrayal.
He's great. What's he in again?
He's in a lot of shit, and he's great in everything, and he has unbelievable range. He was in Game Night. You might be thinking of him from there.
Yes.
Hilarious in Game Night. He was also in Ingrid Goes West as like the crazy brother.
Yes.
He's been
Good job,
I think
Peter.
that he is the most pound for pound the most underrated actor in Hollywood.
Love it. That's
my take.
That's a take from Pete.
Pound for pound the most underrated actor in Hollywood.
That's Pete. 2.5.
Billy Magnuson.
No, 3.5. Was that your third?
Yes,
4.5
yes.
points.
That was my 3.5 point. Young Silvio, very bad, not only because he looked old, but also because he gave the most cartoonish impression
He had
of
worse
Silvio.
posture in this than he did in the
Yeah,
Sopranos.
yeah. It was really, really tough. Outside of that, I didn't have too many problems with the characters. I thought that Junior was a bit rough at points. Like they made him into an old guy in 5 minutes.
Yeah, disagree. I liked Corey Stoll as
I love Corey
Junior.
Stoll as an actor, and I think that he did pretty well. But I had a problem with them just like turning him into an old guy in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but when he was frustrated and like cursing the gods, he got into Junior very well.
He hit a lot of like the tics and some of the mannerisms really, really well, and the speaking cadence. All right, fourth and final point. They tried to give so much fan service with this, with like the nostalgia, the callbacks, and a lot of them just felt shoehorned in, and it just didn't feel like any of it was. I don't say any of it. I felt like most of it didn't hit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good. There were some good performances though. Like
Vera Farmiga,
yes,
awesome.
She was
awesome,
excellent, and especially when she got into like the real, like Liv mannerisms.
Yeah, like the real breakdown.
Like Liv, such a brutal character.
And I think like all right, so we talked about what does this movie do for anybody? What does it do for The Sopranos?
Yeah.
If anything, I think it provides character backstory for Liv more than anybody in the movie.
Did you notice that they made what is this actress's name?
Vera Farmiga.
What's she in?
She's in a lot of stuff. She's in The Departed.
Oh, I think
She's
okay.
the therapist in The Departed.
Let me see. Oh yeah, so she kind of looks like. So I was going to say they made her look as much like.
So somebody tweeted that at me.
Yeah, they made her look as much like Carm as possible. So that's what I'm saying with like they were pushing the Tony wants to fuck his mom thing. Yeah. I like right off the bat when they showed her, I was like, oh, well, this is gonna be a movie.
Yeah. It felt. I didn't know off the bat if that's what they were intentionally trying to accomplish, but I do think that that's what they were going for. Good for them because they nailed it and she nailed it. It's one of the few redeeming parts of this movie, I think.
Leslie Odom Jr.
Awesome.
I mean, he's rarely going to throw you a bad one. Mm-hmm. John Bernthal was fine. Like just kind of there. Alessandro Nivola is Dicky Moltisanti. He just kind of kept killing people. So.
I thought that he was good, but I didn't know what the purpose of his character was, really. Because, like, you really don't see him taking Tony under his wing too much and, like, introducing him to the game, which I guess maybe he doesn't really, but I felt like that was hyped up as the purpose of this movie.
Yeah.
And I really, really didn't get the point or why they felt the need to do the love story with Dickie and I forget her name, the woman from Italy.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like they needed some reason to show Dickie being kind of crazy and murderous, and they clearly wanted him to kill his dad.
Yeah, they did that in the first accomplished that in the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, you make him do it over a woman, and there you go. Then you're off. The death scene where he kills, what is her name? It's gonna drive me crazy. Jessipina. Her death scene makes no sense.
No.
They're fighting in the water, and they just cut to her floating away.
Well, he drowns her. Obviously.
What did they just skip ahead then?
Yeah, I mean, like time works really weird in this movie, where you don't understand whether it's a day later or 5 years later.
Like, what do you do? Like, everything was in real time, and then they're just like wrestling, and there's no like he's standing somewhere else, and he looks, and she's floating away. Like they're in the same spot, and then she's just like going. It's like, oh wait, the fight's over. Okay, you won. Okay, there she goes. Bye bye. She's dead now.
And they just like never find her. Like, what's going on? It's
somebody pointed out, like, man, it is cold, and it's the beach. Like nobody. To quote Don Henley, he famously said this: "Nobody on the road, nobody on the beach." If there is anybody around there, they saw two people who were there
fighting,
and then there's one person.
Yes,
like you would be caught for that crime so quickly.
Even back then, when you could get away. I mean, like they have some really, really bold murders, I guess, in this movie where like it's like, how the hell would you get away with that?
I know.
Even for a movie involved in organized crime, you're like, I don't know if this really is. You're gonna get away with this one.
Yeah, we were sold a massive bill of goods.
Yes,
though,
definitely.
on James Gandolfini's kid playing Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That was
the most disappointing. That had to be the most disappointing.
That was bullshit.
Yeah.
He has like 2.5 scenes, and most of it is just him eating a hamburger.
Yeah, his character like doesn't really go anywhere. They're just like, yeah, he's kind of a shithead, and that's it.
He wants to play football.
Yeah.
Like, right. We saw Sopranos. Yeah, cool.
That drove me crazy. That's what's gonna bug me in the bigger picture long term, is that they really baited and switched you with that, and this was not a Tony Soprano prequel. It really wasn't.
And I still don't know what it was.
It was a Dickie Moltisanti prequel more than anything.
My friend put it this way. I thought it was great. He said it was like they had limited licensing of The Sopranos. Like they were allowed to kind of make a Sopranos movie.
Yeah.
Because if you were to make a Sopranos movie, there's so much fun stuff you could get into. You could do more stuff with like young Christopher. Like hell, like I think we'd all rather like a Christopher origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher in his teen years leading up to doing all that stuff. But they kind of went for these like added storylines, like you said, the thing with Jessipina.
Yeah.
And then with the with like the dueling businesses.
Yeah, I just think that they spread themselves too thin.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do that, you have to make it a miniseries or something. You gotta go like 4 to 6 episodes, dive into them a little bit deeper, explore the characters a little bit more. But as it is and as it was made, it did not do anything for me.
Tomato Fights is Friday on Listen to Brunch. Patreon.com/Listen to Brunch. That's a podcast where we take 2 movies with the same Rotten Tomatoes score and discuss which is better. I say we bang out a quick tomato fight right now on this movie. It got a 75, or it has a 75, I should say, meaning it could go toe-to-toe with The Devil Wears Prada, Sleepless in Seattle, and Monster House, among others. I haven't seen Monster House.
I haven't seen Monster House, but
would for Tomato Fights. It's an animated movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen Sleepless in Seattle.
I have.
I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks, though.
Yep.
Famously like his work. Devil Wears Prada versus...
Great movie.
Yeah, Devil Wears Prada versus Many Saints of Newark.
Absolute bloodbath, yes.
Bloodier than the actual movie,
yes.
Many Saints of Newark.
It's it's shocking that it got a 75%. And I mean, I guess maybe not, because people love The Sopranos. Again, it goes back to like, hey, people are just happy to have Sopranos back in their lives. But I
that's one they're going to want back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's exactly what an episode of Tomato Fights
Yeah.
is like.
30 seconds and done.
Very quick. Sometimes there'll be a guest. You want to check it out. Patreon.com/listen to brunch. Get Vineyard Nights candles, by the way. It's a limited supply, but fortunately for you, the limited supply exceeds the number of candles that have been purchased,
Ooh.
which means there are candles remaining.
Congratulations.
So thank you very much. It's good to be able to...
Not to you, to the listener.
Yeah,
you still get a chance to get your Vineyard Nights
Personally,
candle.
I feel good because it means that I can offer them for longer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's more time that...
Listen, I'll vouch.
Yeah.
I like you. I like Vineyard Nights.
Boy,
But even if I didn't, I would really like these candles.
those things are easy on the nostrils.
They really are.
They are very easy on the nose. They're easy. They give off they'll give off like a warm kind of quality to them.
That's
You gotta
right.
light them
'cause
on
it's
fire to get them
Yes.
going. It's a whole thing, but it's easy to do. You can look. There's like tutorials online and everything. You just
On how to
set
light
them
a
up
candle?
and just get them going.
Yeah, I'd say
and
it's pretty easy.
Your the immediate area of the candle will smell fantastic. So you want to check it out at velabox.com/Vineyard Nights, I believe. But if not, it's velabox.com. You could click around. You go to collaborations. You'll find Vineyard Nights on there. You'll also find the Sunday Scaries candles, I believe, from our friend Will DeFries. You can
Heck yeah, brother.
get all sorts of candles. Do whatever you want.
Also, congratulations on the year anniversary of Vineyard Nights.
Yeah, I didn't know that until our friend Ryan LaFleur was like, yo, 1 year for Vineyard Nights, made some celebratory merch. It's in the store. What a sweetheart. I had no idea. So that's there if you want to get any merch. There's also just whatever you want. You can just get stuff. You don't have to get it from us. You don't have to. If maybe some stuff is even reselling if you want to
Hit the secondary
hit
market.
the secondary market, get some bootleg Vineyard Nights merch, whatever
Make
you
your
need.
own.
Or if you just need like groceries, whatever, head out to the grocery store, get what you got, have yourself a weekend. The other thing we saw is the guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty.
Guilty. Yes.
It's
Daddy.
Dari. That's exactly it. You got it. That's
Yeah, I got it.
exactly how she says it. She's gonna be in the Mario movie.
Is she?
No, but you sounded more like a Mario character.
Daddy.
Yeah. Than you did the Kristen Wiig
Ow, ow, ow,
character,
ow, ow.
Gilly. Oh, I missed. That's my favorite one of those. Who says "Do I miss"? Is that Wario?
I don't know.
Ah.
I don't think anybody knows.
Who says "Here we go"? Is that Toad?
Here we go. Yeah, I think that's Toad.
These are questions we'll ask at brunch trivia.
Yes.
Like who said? But we'll phrase like that too. Who says "Here we go"? Is that Toad?
Just yes or
Again,
no
the
questions.
Again, the question is, who says "Here we go"? That's Toad, right? Just fill it out. Turn in the card.
Simple yes or no will
We
suffice.
got an enthusiastic volunteer, by the way, for the person who wants to be playing, who wants to be turning in answers.
Oh, who was it?
I'll
Are you at
tell
liberty
you.
to say?
It's a limited supply.
Okay.
I can't tell you. But it would look so great.
Okay.
They'd just hand us the card, immediately throw it away, occasionally crumple it up, chuck it at them as they're walking away. This is such a good idea.
love
We could
this.
probably do it at Idle Hands. I mean,
Probably.
Idle Hands welcome is. They said we can come back.
That's huge. We got invited to other places too after we did Beer Evan
I
Hansen.
saw that. Yeah.
We got invited to other places, so I'm very excited about the possibilities of where this could go. I really had fun doing Beer Evan Hansen.
Yeah. So did I. It's because you got drunk.
Yeah, but I think that like just going out into the world and doing a podcast was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, man.
I would probably get less drunk next
Yeah.
time, but I think it's a good idea.
Honestly, when people are like, because we live in such a, or we work in such a weird field that when it's people, if anyone's ever like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or like long term, what do you want to be doing and everything? I've really come to find like, I just want to make things. I just want to like work on a cool thing with somebody cool that.
Just want to be excited about
like.
stuff.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like when you get older, I mean, not that I'm like, I don't want to sound like a 75-year-old or whatever, but like when you get older, the number of things that excite you and get
Yeah.
you going,
you don't want to just like fall into
they
some
wane.
routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, especially when we've been doing this for a long time, and I think we've hit certain ruts where we're like,
Yeah.
we're just kind of like going through the motions for a little bit. I think that we're starting to, we've said this several times in the past, but like we're hitting stuff that we're really excited about, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that it can be really easy to do that because I mean, this is a like legitimately one of my favorite parts of my life, and like this is my life in a lot of ways, but it's not the only thing
Right.
in our lives. So depending, I mean, there's still, it blows my mind. Like there are some stretches of the last however many years that I'm like, I can't believe I was like regularly doing podcasts during this time.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't speaking on like the other however many days a week. But I also feel the same way about my job, that it's like, man, like we really, and by we I mean humans, just have to like, if you're doing great, if you're not doing great, our society or whatever, it's like the show goes on in so many ways that when I
Yeah.
look back, I like laugh at it, that I'm like, man, it's
How did I make this
it's
work?
crazy
Yeah.
that like, yeah, the people just like motor through stuff when they'll have other shit going on or whatever. But yeah, man, I think that the best part of it is just coming up with cool shit and leaning into it, which is why like I don't think I've hidden it at all. I really, really want Tomato Fights to be a monster. I want it to be a big thing. I want people to be excited about it, and and like so far people really are. The feedback's great. Like with the Creek stuff, it was like we were having a lot of fun and everything, and we just kind of forgot
Yeah.
to ask if people were liking it, and they were like, "You guys are having fun," so we like that part of it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that
It is like it is legitimately the first thing in the Patreon where I'm like, damn, should this be on the Patreon? Because I feel like it should
I
be
agree.
so good. It can be so good that I want as many ears and stuff on it as possible. So, but it's also the first thing that I'm like, wow, we're actually providing like significant value to the patrons.
Oh, yeah.
So like, please, 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 we are very, very excited about Tomato Fights, and we want as many people as possible to hear it. So if you haven't listened to the first one yet, please go listen to it with Katie Nolan. It's a great time. And if you decide that you like it, go to patreon.com/listentobrunch and sign up if you can, because we really, really want you on board for the ride.
Yeah. Could not agree more. Love that. Love the excitement. Love Tomato Fights. Didn't love The Guilty.
No, but I didn't hate it either.
It was phone booth.
I think that it was like a fine straight to Netflix movie, where it wasn't bad, but it's pretty forgettable. And I'll tell you what, the most disappointing thing about it is that it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, and I feel conflicted about that because I wouldn't have watched it if it didn't star Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
But Jake Gyllenhaal is better than this movie.
Yeah, I like Jake Gyllenhaal.
And he was
A
great
lot.
in this movie. He was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, he, with apologies to Colin Farrell, he's given the best performance in a guy is just sitting there on the phone the entire
Well, that's
movie.
also what's that? I think the movie's called Lock with Tom Hardy. And I hated that one. It's just a guy in his car driving the entire time. And he's just like doing different phone calls on his speaker, and it tells a story that way. But
Sounds
it
like
is
an episode of Entourage.
But that's literally all the movie is.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
It's a wild premise, but
Interesting.
I liked this a lot better than that one.
Yeah, this is a guy is a 911 operator, not 911. Is it 911 operator? It's some like
911
emergency service.
dispatcher, yeah.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, I might have kind of been watching Squid Game while I was watching this at points. Like I would just like pause it and just like knock out 10 minutes of Squid Game instead. But it's okay. It's fine. Good performance from Jake Gyllenhaal. It's got a good twist, and
I don't think it's that big of a twist though. And
yeah, like something
it's
needed
kind
to
of
happen.
Yeah, and it's sort of
And then
it's sort of like postmarked a little bit.
Yeah. They I did wonder, I was like, man, this very easily could have been shot during the pandemic.
It was actually.
It was?
Yeah, so I believe Antoine Fuqua, is that how you pronounce his last name?
I'm not sure.
He's the guy who did Training Day. He directed this movie. He directed.
Oh
this,
yes.
He directed this movie completely from within a van, which is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go to like Jake Gyllenhaal's Instagram, I saw a picture that he posted, and it was like Anton Fuqua. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, but he was like inside this crazy souped up van that has like a big monitor and like microphone set up and stuff, and he directed the entire thing like basically isolated.
That's sick. And yeah, I mean, and Gyllenhaal's setup is basically he's just sitting in a room. There's a person in the background out of focus, and as I was watching it, I was like, that person might not even be there. They could just be adding that person in post.
That's true. They speak a few times, but
let's look up the budget for.
It had to be
The Guilty.
very small.
Let's see, The Guilty.
Because listen, you only had like 2 rooms that they shot in.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume like 90% of the budget was spent on Jake Gyllenhaal.
Correct. And then the other.
They actually did have
phones.
They did have big names who did voice only roles. I
I
don't know if you knew that.
really?
Yeah.
Let me see. Voices. We got. Oh, Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Henry? Damn.
Ethan Hawke.
Yes, yep.
Paul Dano.
I definitely heard Bill Burr.
Yes, that was so jarring. That
One of them
was
just
so unnecessary.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever. Go fuck yourself. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, that's Bill Burr.
It's crazy. People got to stop putting Bill Burr into things that are supposed to be immersive
Yeah.
because he is so identifiable and like abrasive
Yeah.
in the way that he talks. Like he's in The Mandalorian. I think that I
Right.
told you this like a week ago and you're like, "What? Really?"
Yeah,
and he
famously,
basically just
he's-
plays like a Bostonian in this show about people in space.
So that I could do. Paul Dano.
It's funny and like he's good in it, but it's just so weird to think about, hey, like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, hey, there's this masshole who just ended up on this planet.
I'm not seeing a budget on The Guilty 2020. There's a lot of films called The Guilty, by the way. There's one made just in 2018. Crazy.
Yeah, though I've seen the budget for the one in 2018.
Well, at any rate, it wasn't that good a movie. You can check it out. I like the way you described it, which is it's a fine straight to Netflix type of thing. Watch it there. But more than that, man, watch Squid Game.
Squid Game is maybe the best piece of TV that I have watched this entire year.
Have you seen The Queen's Gambit?
I have not. Squid Game, how deep are you? Have you finished yet? What are your thoughts?
I am 6 episodes deep, so I've got 3 to go.
So you have finished the Marble episode.
I finished the Marble episode. Tough one.
Without spoilers, I
Lost
don't
one
want
of
to
my faves.
So this is how you know I really, really like Squid Game, and I really, really want you, the listener, to watch it if you might be interested and you haven't yet. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah.
I really, really don't want to spoil it for you.
This dropped September 17th, 2021.
So it's only a couple weeks old. It's obviously picked up a ton of steam.
yeah.
Everybody's watching it. Everybody's talking about it. Highly recommend. Big 2 thumbs up for me. But there is an episode that is like the most heartbreaking and devastating episode of TV that I have seen in a long time.
So I haven't seen it yet?
No, you have.
It was the last one?
Yes.
Let me tell you, I was heartbroken and devastated
Yes.
by some things that happened in that. And I knew the setup when they had a choice to make at the beginning of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that coming?
I had an idea that it would be coming, yeah.
Yes. Because everything goes against what they think is going to happen or
Right.
what has happened so far.
And
So-
like the entire purpose is fucked up. So like
Right.
the entire premise, I should say, is fucked up. So like to think that
They're
you
not
kind of
going to-
always thinking like, how are they going to fuck with these people?
Exactly. So, sad stuff that episode. R.I.P. to people that were lost in that episode.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler for you. There's some RIPs that happen in this show.
There are some several RIPs.
Dude,
throughout the course of the show.
I know that you technically haven't seen Would You Rather, but this is like the exact premise of Would You Rather. Get a bunch of people who really need money and
Yeah, it's true.
make them play games that if you lose, it ends up not being so great for your status
Life.
as
An
a
alive
living
person. Yes.
person. It can be affected there. But it's also, you were right. You said you were like, it's got like Saw. It's
like Saw meets Hunger Games, I think is the way that I
Yeah.
put it. And
There's some escape room to it.
some escape room for sure. Some like Hostel. Some what else did I say? Black Mirror.
Yeah.
A lot of weird elements. And are you watching it with the subtitles? Or are you watching with the dubs?
Both.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's just how it automatically did it for me.
Oh, really?
What do people do?
I watched it with just the subtitles. I watched it in Korean. Because
Oh.
I can't do the dubs. It's way too distracting for me.
The voice act, I'm taken with how good the voice actors are.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
they're great.
Okay. Yeah, I just watched it in Korean with the subtitles. I thought that was totally fine. So if the dubs are good, I know a lot of people can't get past subtitles, which is a bummer. So if the dubs are good, then try it with that.
Yeah, I mean the voice actor, whoever is player 212,
I don't know the numbers.
they call her grandma at one point. She doesn't like that.
Oh, yes.
She's like she has sex with the gangster guy.
Mhm.
Oh, I've spoiled it. Fuck. That's not that important.
No, it's not.
And that could have happened before the show even started. You guys don't know that life is long.
True.
But her voice actor is like great because like you really gotta get in there to be that character.
Yes.
So it's an awesome show.
I'm excited to talk about the ending with you. I know you
Cool.
haven't gotten there. We'll save it for next week, but I am excited to talk about the ending.
I'll get you out on this, Peter. Haven't we been doing the ba-da-ba-ba-ba I'm loving it thing a little long? That dawned on me the other day. How the fuck is that campaign? How is that still part of the McDonald's universe? That seemed like it was going to be a fleeting 1 month thing I remember when it first came along, and now it's like 30 years later.
Do you remember the slogan before that one?
No, but if
I hadn't thought about it in a while, and I'm surprised that I just remembered it on the spot. But I think that I got it right.
It's in there. Is that Prego?
Yes. When you're here, your family.
Yes.
That's Wilmon's, famously.
It's famously, there's some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's McDonald's.
Yes.
What is it?
Every kiss begins with K.
That's right.
No, it's we love to see you smile.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because We Love to See You Smile didn't last that long that I kind of treated.
I did it. I thought that I grew up with We Love to See You Smile.
Let's see, McDonald's.
And I thought that one was a banger.
We Love to See. I think that is. So 2001.
Like ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Just seems so lazy for like a slogan for this like gigantic company that
and it's been going on for let's see.
I don't think enough attention is paid to how stupid and lazy of a slogan that is.
I mean, let's see. Ba-da-ba-ba, I'm loving. How long has this been going on?
I mean, it's got to be since I was in like middle school or elementary school.
Do you remember who sang the first Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it?
No.
I'll have to check if this is true. I remember Justin Timberlake.
That's the name that was in my head.
Yeah. Let's see.
If I had to make one guess, if you forced me to make a guess, I would have said Justin Timberlake.
Here we go. Contentious tale of McDonald's I'm loving it jingle. This is Pitchfork, so they're going to be off on some of this. In 2003, Justin Timberlake helped launch an ambitious new McDonald's marketing campaign tied around the slogan, I'm loving it. The advertising blitz marked, surprisingly, the first time the venerable fast food company had ever used a single message and set of commercials worldwide at the same time. Over the past 13, this is written in 2003.
Maybe that's why it's so like simple and quote unquote lazy, is because it's like appealing to a real global audience.
Yes.
And just like being very basic, I guess. Yeah.
It's the na 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 na
Yeah.
na 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 na. Hey Jude.
Well, congrats to Justin Timberlake on one successful venture, because the Facebook, oh boy, bad week.
tough. McDonald's spent $1.37 billion on advertising the year of I'm Loving It. So they to get I'm Loving It off the ground, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, that one,
Yeah.
$1.37 billion. I am stunned, though, that nobody has said, like, all right, can we get a new one? Like, it's not that good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's appealed to a global audience, and you got to do a lot of work to relaunch something.
yeah, they got bigger fish to fry. I mean, they're getting into, like, huge deals with, what's my guy's name? Jay Balvin.
Yes, yeah.
They're doing all these meals. And now Burger King, you see Burger King's doing a Nelly meal.
Right on time.
They're doing fucking Burger King, Jesus. They're doing a Nelly meal, but it's only using real ingredients. So it's called. Let's see. Let's see if this is the first thing that comes up when I Google Burger King.
Speaking of
Nope. The first thing is Burger King begins campaign to counter cyberbullying against 11-year-olds. That is
again right on time. Burger
specific
King.
Burger King. Burger King Nelly meal. Burger King's Keep It Real meals.
Is it because 11-year-olds are the only people dumb enough to eat Burger King and they're getting bullied by people with taste?
In fairness, 11-year-olds and DJ Bean, and both getting lampooned by people with taste. Nelly Selections, a.k.a. the Cornell Haynes Jr. meal, because they're being real.
Oh, okay.
That's not as... So... Oh, that's
Speaking of money, by the way, in large sums of money,
Yeah.
did the won
go up?
what?
Did like the I don't know.
No, like the won, did that confuse you? Because like when I was watching Squid Game and they were talking about wands and they were like obviously massive numbers that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It was confusing and I didn't look it up, but I was wondering just like how much money are we really talking about here?
Oh yeah, I looked it up. I mean, when you're living in the Ethereum world,
True.
You're
The
checking
conversion
random-
rate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just checking conversion rates, and I immediately did. The second he won $4.1 million won.
How much is that?
I've already forgotten.
Okay.
But the people that were in debt, I think, were generally in. I think they were in like $250,000 plus of like
250,000 won?
dollars. When
Oh,
I
okay.
remember looking
Okay,
it up, and I
okay.
think let's see. Won to USD. So when he won 4.1 million won, he won $3,451.
That's it?
So like not,
Holy.
yeah.
That kind of changes the perspective a little bit because I thought this was like, oh, well, we're going to get super rich. It's not really. It's kind of just like enough to pay off your debts. And that's
Yeah,
it.
it's not generational.
Yeah.
So I think that when they were, let's see. Oh, I don't even know if they weren't they saying? Oh yeah, they were. They were like you owe like 150 million won to like bookies,
Yeah.
and then an additional 250 to creditors. So I looked that up. So I said, what is 400 million? 400. 400 million won is $336,000. That
Okay.
is,
It's a lot of money.
especially when you're dealing with like, I mean that's a lot to owe to a bank.
Yes, right.
But when you're
Dealing
dealing
like
with
a singular bookie.
yes.
Yikes.
So, Squid Game is a really thrilling thing. If you check it out,